today I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart, and that is scaling into big deals rapidly. Majority of people go, when they try to get into real estate, they go buy a single family house, and then they buy maybe another single family, then another one a few years later. And over the course of 10 or 20 years, 30 years, they acquire a handful, maybe 5, 10, 15 houses, or maybe they threw in a duplex or triplex in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to build wealth through real estate. You buy just a handful of properties and you wait 30 years and you're going to have a pretty nice looking net worth. But that's not the only path in real estate, right? There are more ways to build wealth than that in real estate. And so today I want to talk about a different approach, a more aggressive approach. In fact, part of this is kind of inspired by, when I thought of this topic, it's kind of inspired by Grant Cardone. So Grant Cardone, love him or hate him. He doesn't care. He just likes that you know him. Love him or hate him. Grant Cardone has this advice, is don't ever buy a piece of real estate that's less than, I think, 30 units. That's what he pushes out there. Now, I don't always agree with that. Again, I don't like telling people you should or shouldn't do this. Like, you live your life. I'm going to give you whatever information I can. But Grant does have a really valuable point in that a person who could buy a single family house could also buy a 30-unit apartment complex. I really believe that. If you have the mental fortitude, intelligence, work ethic to buy a rental house, which is a tremendous amount of work, you could also buy a large apartment complex or a large industrial property or a large self-storage or a large mobile home park or something bigger. The truth is, we typically go for the smaller, cheaper deals because we feel more comfortable there, not because we're only capable there, right? So that's the first point I want to make sure we're all on the same page around is going big has a lot less to do with ability than it does comfortability. Is comfortability a word? It is today. So, and I like that Grant pushes people that way. Now, could you start with the 50 unit? I believe you can. And I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you can do that today. Again, I'll start with the big one right here. I generally do not advise that newbies start with giant deals by themselves. The reason why is because has anybody ever done a real estate deal here listening to this or watching this? Like, you've done real estate, right? Have you ever made a mistake ever? Anybody? Raise your hand if you made a mistake. Yes, me too. I mean, when I look back on like some of my early deals, even current deals, but when I look at my early deals, well, let's just say my very first duplex I ever bought. I lived in one unit, rented the other ones out. And then I had a rehab budget of like $12,000. I thought I could do it for that. I spent like $25,000, over time on that property. Well, if you double your budget on a $12,000 rehab, that's a hard month. You got to do some work. You might have to pay off some credit card. It sucks a little bit. If you double your budget, like you spend twice as much as you budgeted for on a $12 million rehab, and all of a sudden now you spent $24 million on a rehab, that's a much bigger problem. And so this is where I've disagreed with Grant, is I don't think it's necessarily the best idea to go and do these massive projects up front. Unless, and this is the really important point, unless you are working with someone who has already done those mistakes and made that, and you can glean and borrow from their expertise. So let's just say you want to get started. You say, you know what? I've done a couple small deals here and there, but I want to buy a 50 unit. Well, why don't you go find somebody who's done around a 50 unit and go partner with them? And now you might be wondering why they would partner with you. It's because if you bring them a deal, you bring them an opportunity, why would they not partner with you? I mean, 50% of a great deal is better than 100% of nothing. So like, even if you came to me and you're like, I locked up this 120 unit mobile home park, and I looked at it and I'm like, geez, that's a really good deal. Why would I not partner with you? Now, I would want some control because I'm the one with the experience. And so I'd say, well, I got to run this thing. But I'm going to give you a sizable chunk of the GP because, I mean, not that I'm saying I'm going to give everyone 50% who brings me a deal, but if you lock the deal up and I can't take it anyway, it's better for me to get 50% than to get nothing. Like, if you were like, no, I want half the GP on this. GP, by the way, for those who don't know the terminology, is when you do a big syndication like what I do where I raise money, the people who put the deal together are general partners, GP. The people who bring the money that they invest in the deal, those are limited partners or LP. So I would very likely give you you have a great negotiation standpoint because you own the deal. And the deal is the hardest thing to find today. So when I say that when I would teach people you shouldn't start with big deals, I mean you shouldn't start with big deals alone. But if you can work with someone, or maybe you're part of a team and you're just an employee even, or a minor partner, who cares? If it gets you into that earlier. And so, yeah, don't be afraid of those bigger deals if you're willing to work with someone who has the experience, has the expertise that maybe you didn't have. So, knowing that, I want to talk about a few more. I got maybe, what do I have? Six official tips besides that one. That's like tip number 1. So we have a total of 7 tips today. So let's just burn through them and then we'll get everyone out of here in an hour or so.